It's 6:32. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Let me do a head count here. I don't see any voting members on Zoom. If you are, please sound off for me. Let's see. So in addition to any members here, we also have Mayor Peter Nystrom and our Corporation Counsel, Michael Griffith. So we'll go, let's see, Cindy's here, Stacy, Gray, Christine, Peter, who's missing right now? Oh, Bill, 9. Sheila and who else? Mark Rulos. Okay, so right now we're missing Sheila and Mark Rulos.
Mark.
Yeah.
This is Sheila. I'm here.
Oh, you're here? Which how are you?
I don't know.
Is that the the Samsung SMS? Okay, you're on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's Sheila. Okay. So that's 10. All right. So yeah, I got it. So I got let me talk about, so we have a quorum, obviously. You have 10 members present, 10 voting members present. Is there any public comment today? Is there any public comment today? Is there any public comment today? Hearing none, I'm going to move on. So the next thing on the agenda is the report from CSG, but I'm going to usurp that and blend it in a little bit, because I'm going to talk about what's been going on for the last couple of days. Some of the members know about this already, but let me explain. So yesterday, I met with CSG about the numbers for the grant application for Moriarty and Uncas. They have come in fairly high, 80 and 81 million. So what's become apparent is that because of that, even with whatever we do for value engineering and whatever else, and to bring the numbers closer in line, we are not going to get, we're not going to get into that $385 million pretty apparent. So the first question I did ask was if the PLA had an impact on that facility, but that is not the case. So the issue is entirely an escalation of building costs. So we had to think about something, how we're going to address it. So to be honest with you, I think it was the prudent thing to do was to get the city manager and Josh Potter involved at that point. I called them and made an appointment with them this morning and sat down and discussed the issue. So before that, I actually reached out to our legislative delegation. So talked to Darrell Wilson. He was reaching out to Kathy. They both know Kathy Austin. They both know what's going on. And we'll work from there. Of course, we're not in session. We're not going to be in session until January. So there's not much going on there at this point. Mark Rulos is here. So, but that will be an avenue we will try to take a look at. So we talked to, like I said, John and Josh today, and we decided that the best course of action was probably to go back to referendum and look for another, either an allocation or redoing the project. That's maybe a little problematic, but I don't see where we got much of a choice. So so we talked about that. So that's not going to mean anything for us right this second, at least until November. So it's like, so there's no action we need to take. It'll be council action moving forward as far as that aspect of the project goes. I know I talked to Jim and Mike. They were at the meeting this morning with the city manager. I'm going to ask them to come up with an estimate for teachers based on what current circumstances, so that we can put together some kind of realistic number to go forward. I mean, I could do something back of the envelope, but that's not going to cut it. How much are we sure? But quite a bit. So it depends on what the actual numbers come out when we go to construction and stuff.
Right, as of today, how much you issue?
Can't hear me down here, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can't hear me? Oh, Greg.
Well, I didn't hear Greg, and I know if I shut off this air conditioner, it's
Okay,
gonna be
when I asked
hotter than.
All right, I'll project a little more.
Yeah, please,
All
thank
right.
you.
So right now, we only have projections on the 3 schools. So we'll talk about that more with CSG will give us the numbers there. So I'm not gonna do that. That'll be part of their report. So we'll get a current status. So probably some of that stuff is gonna be. So right now, that's the way we're probably going. So this afternoon, I met with Mayor Nystrom. I know we reached out to Stacy to talk to her to give her a heads up. I talked to Susan Massar about the current situation, which she was, of course, a little surprised at, which I can understand because I was kind of surprised. So, but it's the situation we're in. It's the cards we're dealt. We basically have to play it. So the problem is all the situations that currently exist with the reasons why we did the project to begin with still exist. For instance, when DRA did the initial master plan, we had an excessive amount of repairs that need to be done to the existing school. None of that has changed. In fact, I don't think it's that much of an exaggeration to say Stanton is being held together with bale and wire and string. You know, they're doing classes in the hallway. So it's not, so our best chance as far as alleviating some of these issues is trying to get this, these new numbers passed. Because right now, I'm probably going to ask you guys if you can give me a number for, I know we talked 222 million over the cost for the next 20 years for work on the schools. I don't know what that number would actually be now. It would have to be pushing 300 million. And that's, those are numbers that would, the city would be responsible for without any compensation from the state. And that's the whole, kettle of fish. So that's the where we're at basically. We are gonna the game plan right now is to continue as we have. We are going to do the RFP for an architect for the next two schools and a project manager for the next for Congress. We are getting numbers. Did you get? Well, we'll get when you do your report. So we'll get a number on teachers for bond council, and we'll put together a package. As far as now, what form that's exactly going to take, I know I was talking to council on the way up here a little bit ago. What form that's going to take, I'm not absolutely positive, whether it's going to be an additional allocation or just a complete redo. I'm going to say that we may benefit from some tweaking of the language where it might give us some flexibility to try and save some money here and there. So Mike was suggesting earlier today, which doesn't seem like out of the realm of possibility, that maybe we build a central office when we do teachers. Put it as part of that package. So and achieve an economy of scale. I don't want anything to be off the table. If you know me, I'm not really about pushing any one agenda. I'm about developing consensus and trying to find a way to get the job done. And that's kind of where I'm at now. So there's no sense in burying your head in the sand over this. It's not a good situation. It's when you refer to these as problematic. There are things we're going to have to overcome as a city, but failing to do so puts us in an even worse situation, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave that little. So you basically are up to speed on the basics of what's been going on, particularly these last few days. And I'm going to go right into CSG.
You want to share the screen?
Sure. What do you?
Yeah,
You don't.
Okay, no, that's what I did. No, I got it. I can just set them down.
It's just, you know, I apologize to everyone. It got,
Sorry to interrupt, don't we have to do approval of the minutes from last time?
Oh, you know what? I did it again. This is a copy and paste thing. I did it again. Very good. Thank you. Bruce. I gotta get rid of that copy and paste buttons. So I'm gonna amend the agenda again and add approval of last month's minutes. Those were shared by the secretary. Could I get a motion to do that? By, who's that? Peter?
I'll second.
Second by Mark Kulos. Any discussion, additions, corrections?
It's just one sentence on the second page, maybe the third paragraph.
Could you speak up, please?
Yeah, there's one sentence on the second page, third page, excuse me, third paragraph. And it's like, and it's back. If I can't make sense of this. I don't know whether it can struck.
Well, we first have to vote on the motion to amend the agenda.
Well, I can amend the agenda as chairman, as long as it's a regular meeting.
Oh,
So I'm using executive privilege to do that. So unless there's objection to amending the agenda. So,
My suggestion is you want Jim, what it is.
I believe the word and, but also too, yeah, if you guys really can't speak up, because I can't hear. It should be where it says Jim Giuliano and James Brett, I believe Jim Giuliano asked. And it just, it didn't catch it, spell check.
looks a lot better on that screen.
so I share the damn thing and I probably screwed it up too. All right, can the people on Zoom see this?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. All right, so go ahead, Mike. No,
So, for the first project in the list is the Sandy project. The design development drawing package has been issued by DRA to Downs Construction for estimating.
Sorry, Mike.
yeah, because the air conditioning.
The design development package has been issued by DRA to Downs.
I'm sorry, we haven't voted.
On the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you say speak up?
Somebody's.
Did you ask?
Stacy, take over.
Okay, we need to accept the minutes.
We had a motion, I think, didn't we? A
No,
motion
accept
to
minutes,
accept, but I need to vote on it, right?
yes,
So-
Yeah.
And I'll note for the record that the meeting is being recorded and so all votes are by roll call. So, Bill Hall,
Yes,
Cindy,
Yes.
Stacy,
yes,
Greg,
I'm saying I wasn't. here.
yeah, okay. Christine,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Joe, Greg, yes, myself, yes. And Marcos?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so.
Did you get?
Sheila.
Nine. Oh, Sheila, that's right, online.
Yeah.
Yeah, speak up, Sheila, I can't hear you.
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
Turn up the
okay.
volume here, let's see if we can do that. All right, 10:01. All right, now we can go. Now we can go.
With our blessing, you know.
Well, I will tell you, the last couple of days have been a bit hectic,
Yeah.
so it's, so we'll, please forgive me. Go ahead and speak up.
The design development drawing package has been issued by DRA to Downs Construction for estimating. The project was approved by Inland Wetlands at the 6/6 Inland Wetlands meeting. And the letter of map amendment from FEMA has been received and approved by FEMA. Upcoming activities for the next 30 days, the design development drawing package is being estimated by Downs Construction and Tarvell Construction, who's DRA's cost estimator. Estimates are due on July 8th, with reconciliation occurring between July 11th and July 12th. That should fall in line relatively well, provided that there's not any major hiccups along the way for presentation at the July building committee meeting. The project will be presented at planning and zoning at the June special CCP meeting on June 26th to review the special permit applications that are needed to get the building permits to these projects.
Mike, with the CCP.
Commission on the city plan.
Oh, thank God, someone jumped in because I forgot.
It's all right. We're doing well today.
Okay.
All right.
On the second page of the Stanton report, there's a project budget. The project budget is still reflected based on the original grant application costs and not the new costs for the project until we move to a phase where the costs become more real. So at this point, we have spent $1,140,207.44. The next page of the packet is a professional services supplement for DRA, which is included in the package, but I'll leave to them for their update to present. That takes you to page four in the package, which is the Greenville Elementary project. By and large, design development drawing package has been issued by DRA to Downs for estimating. Project again was approved by Inland Wetlands at their 6/6/24 meeting. The additional subsurface exploratory work, I believe, is still ongoing, but that will probably be in Jim and Greg's update. And again, the design development drawing package is being estimated by Downs and Tarbell. Estimates are due on the 8th and reconciliation will occur on the 11th and 12th. This project, as well as the Stanton project, will be presented at the June special planning and zoning CCP meeting on June 26th for special permit. The next page of the package is the project budget update for Greenville. At this point, we've expended $1,086,810.03. You really can't read that at all. And following that is another professional services supplement for DRA for the Greenville project. Okay, the next page in the package is the John M. Moriarty Elementary School project. So just to give everyone a status update on the components to the grant application as to where we are now. Every item for the grant application has been completed with the exception of certified, signed and sealed Board of Education meeting minutes for the approval of the educational specifications. The meeting minutes have been moved to final draft. I've been corresponding with Amber about getting those certified and sealed. I would imagine that her certification is done. And then the city clerk will need to certify those minutes as well. I'll be in Norwich on Thursday. If I don't receive them electronically by then I will stop by the city clerk's office and obtain certified copy. All other items that are required for the grant application have been signed, vetted through any building committee that's necessary. So we already had the grant application resolutions for Moriarty from the previous round that had gone through council. Those are the 3 resolutions that were required to submit a grant, authorize the superintendent to submit a grant, authorize the preparation of these schematic drawings, schematic cost estimate, as well as appointing this committee as the building committee for the projects. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been working on the grant application estimate for these projects and re-benchmarking what we had from the master plan estimate. A copy of the grant application phase cost estimate is included within the package. This is actually a copy of the Connecticut school construction cost database where we're required to submit all of the cost estimates to the state for school construction projects. It's in a uniformat setup. And if anyone would like to review the detailed copies of the estimate from our cost estimator, I have a single copy of the grant application estimates with full detail, should anyone be interested. taking a look at those
For both.
for both projects, but I'll get. So,
So the 80 million,
yes,
now, how is that compared to what we saw? That's 64.
now hold on, I have those numbers on my computer, but I should have put them in here. Figuring that this question is gonna come up.
I got it, you know.
Uh, the original. The original grant application cost estimate for the John M. Moriarty Elementary School was $64,204,445. So it represents about a 15 and change $1 million increase.
We'll do this next time.
Yeah.
You just put that, so,
Right.
because I'm gonna ask you anyway.
No, I understand. It should have been in there and I was kind of rushing in all honesty.
Uncas was is the original 66,761,215. The estimate, as you'll see, is 81,802,800.
So the upcoming activities for the
Same
grant,
kind of-
the upcoming activities for the for this project is receiving that last package of certified meeting minutes and then actually uploading the grant application package to the state website, of course.
The actual cost has gone up about 25%.
I don't
Actually,
have,
more than that.
I don't have the data reflected as a percentage. But I.
Well,
can-
using the math in my head,
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not very.
rough math.
Without Excel, I'm nothing anymore when it comes to math.
I can calculate state tax in my head, you know.
Moriarty 16 is 25% of 64.
Yes.
And yeah, I know you're gonna talk about Uncas, let's call that 82, so that's like gonna be like $18 million, sorry, so it's.
Some of the
27.
companies and other things.
Yeah. My rough math was correct.
So we're looking to try and have the grant application cost estimate uploaded by June 26th. The official deadline when the state website closes to receive the grant applications is June 31st. I like to June 30th. I like to go only 30 days of June. I like to get them up a couple days in advance so that I can go back through for the next 3-4 days, double checking that everything is uploaded, because if you've used the site, it can be quirky at times, is what I'll say. So then that takes care of that. On the next page, this is actually a printed copy of the grant application cost estimate. This is one of the 2 forms of the estimate that the state will be looking for submission as part of our grant application. So this has been done. It's saved within. It's saved within the system and. No, it is saved. It is saved.
I don't think it calculates.
Well. Yeah. So, you know, we're good with all of the items that are required right now.
I'm gonna say that based on the grant application, it specifies a bunch of criteria. For instance, like the schools are gonna be inhabited during the construction phase of the project. So there are things that if we can make sure like the building doesn't need to be inhabited. For instance, if we get Stan and or Greenville open, and we can say close Uncas. And, you know, do a demo there, we can certainly save quite a bit of money. But those are things we're gonna have to work out. They don't exactly match up on time. It's gonna take a little time. But those are all gonna be options that we'll be looking at. Thank you very much. But, sorry to interrupt.
So the next project in the package is the Uncas Elementary School. Again, the grant application estimate has been completed by our estimator. A copy of the grant application. The grant application estimate has been completed by our estimator. A copy of the grant application phase cost estimate is included in the package. The current grant application estimate value is $81,802,880. That's higher than the master plan estimate of $66,761,215. Again, all of the items, we have all the items, the grant application resolutions that the city council needed to approve were completed at the May 14th city council meeting. So that set of resolutions is different from the Moriarty set of resolutions because those had previously been authorized. And again, we're waiting for the certified meeting minutes from the Board of Education on the approval of the educational specifications. And again, there's a grant application based cost estimate included within the package after the project description. And if I may revisit Stanton and Greenville, the first payment request has been drafted to the state of Connecticut for all of the invoices that had been processed through May 31st. We reached out to the state of Connecticut to have costs input into their system so that we can use the payment request module. The state is unable to input those values into the system until after July 1st. Those packages have been signed off by the superintendent's office, and I have the signature on those packages. So the day that the project values are input into their system, I will submit that package, which will include all of the invoices through May 31st. The next payment request that we make, which may happen it would happen in July. It may be able to happen in July, depending on the speed at which the state is able to pay the first request. We would then begin working on the second request, which would take all of the invoices from May 31st to whenever we begin, or whenever we set the cutoff of the second payment. Currently, those requests are at about, I think the reimbursement calculations that I had come up to after the state pays us is right around $1.5 million reimbursement for projects.
How did that spend? Roughly, so if we get $1.5 million, what have we spent?
It was $1,086,000 and $1,100,000, so 2.2 million we got. It's 80% of that. I may be off on the numbers. I'm doing a lot of numbers the past 2-3 days. So.
I thought the order of magnitude.
Yeah, right. It'll be 80% of our expenditures up to then, because the budget now reflects more than the budget had at that time.
Well, Mike, what is the main driver to the cost increase for the schools?
I would say that the main driver to the cost increase from the schools is construction escalation from the time that the estimates were done to where we are now.
So it'd be materials and labor?
Materials and labor and year over year.
This is what, without even looking at the topography of the sites, other than the Greenville School and Stanton that we've already been undertaking.
Stanton we're close on.
And to be honest with you, with regards to the reason that there's a cost difference, which is just around $1.2 million from Moriarty to Uncas, is that due to the size of the site and the logistical concerns that may be there, if we aren't able to vacate a building like what Mark said, it may be a phased construction, right? Where we would demolish a portion of the building, build a new portion of the building, and then continue in that phase and in that pattern until the entire school is constructed. And the reason that was taken into consideration is because when we go to the state for a grant application estimate, we try to be as conservative as realistic, right? So I wouldn't want to put a grant application estimate in for that project understanding that there could be a potential that the project has to be phased without capturing the cost of phasing the project.
Right, but then you get into phase construction, which would limit you to the existing site and not perhaps getting a more preferable building layout or positioning
Correct.
to the existing topography.
Correct, yes, 100% correct. But there's also other alternatives that may be able to be looked at to avoid a scenario like that. If we were able to delay the construction potentially, and if everything goes on track for I've been reviewing countless options, right? One option could be that the old Stanton school stays open. I don't know how that would work logistically for parking, utilities and all of that. It would have to be analyzed. Another option could be that we push off the construction of Uncas for another 6 months until Stanton and Greenville are open, and then use Stanton and Greenville as the swing space for Uncas, and then demolish Uncas before the construction started. It's all stuff that needs to be looked at more closely once we get into it.
Right, yeah, I'm just worried that it's gonna affect future school budgets too, as far as our phasing in of special ed space and bringing those students back into the district. Leading to reduced savings in our overall budget.
It very well could do that, and one other thing that I would like to remind the committee of is that, having some level of an understanding as soon as possible as to what students from what school are going to end up at what location may have a cost impact on these projects. So understanding that sooner rather than later, and the first line that you'll look at within any of the budgets is the moving costs. If it turns out that we end up having to move kids from every one of the 7 schools within the district to a new location, that means that we need to move the staff at every school to a potential new location. And the logistics of that move become complicated in that we would be hiring a moving company to pick up certain people's belongings at a certain school and then bring them to another school. So the logistics and the amount of time that may require may exceed the budgets that we had prepared, and that we have currently in there for the moving.
For the moving costs, that we would have, I would suspect that we hopefully would have enough owner's contingency to be able to.
Well,
We do.
at this point, there's, no.
Well, there's an owner's contingency.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, there is, but not against the grant application.
Yes. All right,
So that's all I have.
any other questions for CSG? In the committee? All right, stop that.
Oh, do you want me to address Peter's or whoever's question was as to where we are now versus?
Oh, yeah, no, let's talk about, so the 4 estimates we've got, go ahead.
All right, so if you take the 2 current estimates that we have for Stanton and Greenville, the estimate for Stanton is $69,524,124 with value engineering. The estimate for Greenville with value engineering, $78,938,636. The new grant application cost estimate for Moriarty Elementary School, $81,802,880. Or I'm sorry, that was the wrong number. $80,618,358. The current grant application estimate for Uncas Elementary School, $81,802,880. So currently, without the middle school included, without Huntington included, without the built-in, without the remaining balance that wasn't those 6 projects. There was a contingency value added. We are currently at $310,883,998. If you were to add in the master plan cost estimate, which we now have questioned based on the construction cost increases and the escalation as to whether or not they're valid. The grant application or the master plan cost estimate for teachers was $99,053,936. The cost for the Huntington space for adult education and Board of Education, $25,060,064 for a grand total of $434,997,998. So currently, over the referendum budget of $385 million, we are $49,997,998 if the master plan cost estimate for Huntington and more and teachers are included within the numbers.
Those are using the existing numbers, not the future projected numbers.
Correct. And
Now,
Mark, to Mark's point this morning, he's asked us to engage our cost estimator to get some costs for the project at teachers to understand better where we may be. And that those costs will be escalated out to a 2026 start date with a grant application in 2025. Next year, this time next year.
that was a mouthful.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No,
I just don't want it, I don't want it to come through the wrong way.
Yeah, no, it's the right way.
And I can repeat them again if people would like me to repeat them again. I just don't want that to be.
No, that's a jive for what I can look at. So did you come up with a number as far as
Yeah, $9,500.
$9,500? Fair enough. So what I'm gonna ask, could I'm gonna go out of order here. Could I ask for a motion from the committee to authorize CSG to spend $9,500 getting us a cost estimate for teachers? So moved by Peter Goff there. Should I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I mean, I can work.
Greg, Velocity. Any discussion?
And just so the clarification, we're gonna look at 2 estimates. One is a renovate as new and the other one is a new.
Okay, good. All right.
And Jim, before you guys vote, if you don't get the information you need out of the master plan, please call us.
Yeah, that's
Because that building for renovate as new is going to be very.
Yeah, we're gonna have him walk the building. We've already talked to him. He's gonna walk the site, walk the building, but yeah,
It's the subtle
we'll reach
pieces.
out.
Yeah, the subtle pieces are tough. None of the staircases are code compliant. Can't be made code compliant. It goes on.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, that was part of the issue. So
Yeah.
we were figuring that we would have to replace. So we built new.
If you have
Well, then,
any of those details, Greg, if you can send some of that stuff.
Either that or give me a call when you guys are gonna walk in. I'll walk with them.
Okay, all right.
That'd be better.
Yeah, I mean, but if you have it documented, because he's gonna start looking at
Yeah,
the,
all the stuff should be in the master plan, the assessment of the building.
okay,
And if you want, let me know when he's gonna be there. I'll go down.
okay.
Won't be, I think
Not
2
this week,
weeks.
next week.
Yeah, give you a date on it.
2 weeks from.
Sorry,
Thank you very
I didn't get-
Oh, no, by all means. contact.
Yeah, because part of that building is terrace, is a
Yeah.
lower level, so they,
Well, the thing you also wanted to know is you have fields to the north of the building, you
Right.
can build and keep that building in function.
In place.
Oh, okay, good.
And that's probably which is the only problem that's gonna impact the neighborhood.
And the grant application estimate, or same grant application, the master plan estimate took into account a new building where a renovate is new.
Yeah, work this new,
Okay.
work the new building.
So the 99 is new?
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Mark, you guys in line.
Huh?
I'd like to go for a walkthrough.
Just talk to Mike if you want to touch base. We'll. You can schedule that, so we'll vote, yeah, so we'll vote on the motion, Sheila,
yes,
Bill Hall,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yeah.
Greg,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes, myself, yes, Mark Kulos.
Yes.
11-0. Thank you. All right, thank you, you're. All right, this is so fun. DRA. You're up. Can everybody see the online, see the share?
Mark,
yeah,
what are you asking me? I can see the Norwich Public Schools, Greenville and Stanton Elementary Schools Building Committee update. That's what I see.
This should be soon.
Mark, if I can, before we go to that, Mike did indicate that in the package that you have on the third page, and there's a professional services supplement. And it is. Yeah, we're not for both buildings.
This now. I'm gonna say,
It's the Stanton.
all right, I'm looking at Greenville.
S, yeah, 005.
The third page of your packet.
43%.
Correct. So it is in the amount of 4,370. At the key, conclusion of the filing activities, with the Stanton project and the Greenville, I'll present both at the same time as they both parallel. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has a self-verification form, lowest level of permanent notification through Army Corps. The self-notification form has a few items within it. And they include fish and wildlife regarding to the project. There is also potential, and they won't know this until the filing is placed, that it may trigger need for cultural and historic site observation. The notification also will likely have some limitations on tree cutting. And that is the notification that is being sought to be supported here. So again, it's the Army Corps of Engineers is triggered by the wetlands notification process, which, as Mike mentioned, we're successfully through as of last week. This is a self-verification checklist for the Army Corps of Engineers that's required.
So that's $4,370, I guess.
That is, and that's for Stanton, and it carries the same number for the Greenville site, triggered by the same, we through the wetlands review process and one wetlands review process, and with that, this filing review.
Yeah.
Usually able to.
It's, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, so need a motion to approve $4,370 for Stanton and $4,370 for Greenville for invoice. So, because I don't have them. All right.
They're in the packet we made.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
S005 and G004.
I'll make the motion that we approve those invoices.
Yeah.
No,
No.
they're supplements.
This is separate. Which
Contract
means,
supplements.
Oh,
which, all right, so we don't,
we don't have to approve those, so those
are
are.
they part of your billing or what?
Not as of yet.
Not
Oh,
signed.
so we haven't
Speaking
been
of
billed.
authorization.
You already- all right, okay.
With that.
So you haven't billed them yet.
Would
All
be
right.
on future billing,
Okay.
once they go through the process of making.
So could we get authorization for those numbers from the committee, motion to authorize those?
So I'll make the motion to authorize expenditures for S 005 G 004. For the professional services supplements from DRA.
Total of,
$8,740.
thank you very much. Can do that in my head and screw it up. Okay,
I'll just have you sign it.
yeah. Yeah. Is there a second? Second by Greg, Carrigan. Any discussion?
Two items, and that is, this is basically checklist notification with some backup engineering. As was stated, cultural and
Historical, we run into a Native American graveyard or something like that.
Okay, well, there's two things, there's the tribes down here also did stone structures that work with the solstice.
Yeah,
We found them in Groton, they don't typically make it this far up. And you probably would have known about them if they're around here. And Greenville, probably not, given the topography, and in fact, it was already previously developed. Stanton was previously farm, and typically that wiped out all of the type of stuff that might have built. So, cultural probably not, state historic, probably not. The building's down at Greenville, so that would be the driver. It's not part of a national historic district. It's not part of the fabric of the mills along the river. It's further back. So my guess is you won't see it on those two. We did see it when we did rock. Some of the buildings down there, but these seem to be pretty remote. This is really coming up because we created little pieces of wetlands to let us change the site around a little bit. I don't know about endangered species. It typically be a fox turtle, the long-eared bat is going to be doing because they nest through the summer, so you can't come 2 days in September. But given the topography of Greenville, I don't expect to see much. If you're in Glastonbury, you have to worry about Eastern housing. And Stanton, I don't think we see much for the weather storm.
thank you, Greg. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. Call for a vote here. Sheila Hayes,
yes,
Bill,
yes.
Cindy, yes, Stacy?
Yes.
Yes, Greg,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Joe? Greg, yes. Me, yes. Markulo?
Yes.
11-0. All right, now, DRA.
Thank you for helping us get through
Yeah.
that.
No problem.
I have a presentation, much of it's been covered, with Mike's.
Sorry.
No, you did a good job.
We need, some of lots to talk
At
about.
some point, we'll get to go first.
Yeah.
Cover things, but, if you could just hit the next slide, as Mike indicated, we did, get our design development package put together for the 6th, delivered. There was BD items that were identified. Those are recognized within the packet. This is the stamping to the left, the project manual, which is basically specifications. A couple thousand pages at this point, and then to the right, the stamping drawings. I have a listing with some bullet points in the center. We've also included additional studies that have been carried on. So hydrant flow test information, the LOMA approval, which is that adjustment to the setback at the river at Stanford, to the brook at Stanton, the wetlands assessment, and the hazardous materials assessment of the existing building. All that can and will impact the cost as a consideration. So we included that within this package as well. If you just flip to the next sheet, same for Greenville. Same studies that apply. The major one at Greenville that's still working its way through is the subsurface investigation that's been ongoing. And as soon as we have information on that, we'll share it out to the two cost estimators. The next slide just gives a sense of the number of drawings. The tally out to the right of each packages, everything from site, civil, structural, architectural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, kitchen consultant, all incorporated in this packet for cost estimation and consideration. And the next slide, so as Mike indicated, successful on the grants approval, and the next slide, and the CCP, as was noted, targeted for next week, 26th. But this was the package that was utilized in the presentation. I don't know if anybody sat in on it, but it was a pretty clean hearing and good information shared. Greg led it from our team and SLR with the lion's share of the civil engineering side of it. No kind of pushback of any sort, and as far as I understand, no items that have to be handled as special notes from the commission. So that was the package for Stanton that was utilized, and the next shows the Greenville project. And again, this is all inland wetland submission. Wetland submission.
It was a slam dunk. I was at. Very well.
Well, yeah, slam dunks come after a lot of work.
Yes.
And they, working with the city, the city's been very good in terms of willingness to kind of talk things through, make sure that questions that can be anticipated can be answered in advance. So that's basically where we stood with that package. The next slide, we did have some samples of what's part of the interiors design development package, and I'll just move through this quickly because it's probably information at this juncture that might, well, let me just hit the first. The interiors design development. At our last meeting, we shared this information. We wanted to share with you that at design development, like the kitchen, if you go to the next slide, it's a package of information, and next slide, Mark, that includes like the plan itself of the kitchen. The next slide will blow that up. There's over 75 different pieces of equipment in here. All of them have their own electrical requirements, mechanical requirements. And if you go to the next slide, all of that is documented in the sheet off to the side, the schedule off to the side. And the next slide gives you a blow up of that, but it gives you a description of the piece of equipment, where it's located, plumbing, electrical requirements, and any special notes. So this all was the result of having opportunity to meet with the district's food service consultant, with CSG, and be able to talk through the requirements that they had and compare that to what we had available in the end spec. Next slide. So along that same strand of thinking, if you go to the next slide, we began looking at other areas adjacent. The kitchen and serving is that of the student dining and kind of the main entrance, and this is all sample given from the Greenville project. Next slide. This is a reflected ceiling plan, so we're starting to be more descriptive. At the schematic design level, it was very much simply notation and general notes. And at this point, for a specialty space like the kitchen, we wanted to be able to talk about absorption, acoustics, those types of things that are going to be important to make a large space with a lot of kids work well. And if you go to the next slide, this lower left-hand corner, you see the little bubble with the one with the arrow pointing to the corner. That's this view one. You just walked in the main visitor entry. You're looking to the corner, which is the corner of the cafeteria. We have this element here that kind of speaks to that of a tree, if you will, but the idea is to be able to give some better sense of what kind of materials are utilized. And then the view of the upper left-hand corner is a view too. You've walked into the lobby space and now you're looking back towards the stair and towards the library to the back of the space. So these are very sketchy at this juncture and really worked up just through computer animation. As we continue through construction documentation, these will become photorealistic and we can mark people through to give the community a better idea of what type of space is being delivered as part of these projects. If you go to the next slide, please. This is within the cafeteria. Again, you see the vertical blades that run down the ceiling. Those are acoustic. They absorb the sound and knock down the reflectance of noise. And above that is just a flat acoustical ceiling as well, again, to absorb the sounds of the cafeteria. The view number one, or excuse me, the view number three, you're standing inside, you're looking back towards the door that is to the main lobby space. That element of that tree form comes within the space here, reflects in there. And view four, which is mislabeled down there as view one in terms of the plan, lower left hand, that one should be a four. You're standing at those doors looking into the space and the serving line is to the left. Go to the next slide. We did the same for Stanton, and next slide, same set where we had the kitchen worked on first. I believe we shared this at our last meeting. Next slide. Here again, we wanted to then think of a space nearby that we can share. So we are sharing the student dining here as well. And in the next slide, please, the reflected ceiling plan, again, utilization of those same types of elements, typical acoustical tile ceiling, some drywall to form soffits to get different elevations, and then the fins down the center. Next slide. And here, this is standing inside the major view to the right, standing inside the cafeteria space with the serving line to your right, looking back towards the main entry to it. Next is the platform design. As we recall, we initially in the ed spec had a built-in stage. As we discussed it with the district, a platform that can be broken down and utilized in several positions was seen as more advantageous. We've done the research on Wenger and to get the number of students necessary. This is the stage sizing that we're pursuing. If you go to the next slide, this is how they're stored. So they're vertically stored on racks. Next slide, which does mean we do have to find storage for this stuff. And so at Stanton, we do have PE storage to the bottom. We have a PE office to the upper right-hand corner of the gym space. But then in the lower left-hand corner, the general storage that you see, that would be the place where these elements are stored. One additional element that was not in the program statement that we want to ensure we have some coverage for is chair storage. So this would be 25 stacked on individual part where you can put a number of them in the closet. So we'll get several hundred stored in a relatively small closet. But right now we're still working through that particular issue on both. And that's what's ahead of us in construction documentation. The next slide shares Greenville, which has the same set of challenges. We need chair storage, platform storage, office space, and the PE storage. So again, we got most of it collected here, but we do have some work ahead of us in the construction documentation.
Can I ask, like,
Yeah,
is
please.
there a workroom, like in the main office, for staff, up the main office?
Yes.
and
Yes, there is. That was in the. Yes,
Some sense.
yes,
And
absolutely.
could you tell me where the SRO's office will be?
So at Greenville, easily can point to it for you. There is, an SRO at this upper level, as part of this administrative suite, for this particular space, for Greenville.
So where is that in relation to the main entrance?
So the main entrance, is on the first floor. This is third floor, and they have two satellite, so this in Greenville, there's a satellite administration suite on the third floor. It was determined that the SRO wanted to be closer to the kids that are at the other grade levels within the school.
So they're not gonna be monitoring visitors?
There is provision for that as well.
I hope so. That's
So
all.
that's-
But it's not the SRO role, it's
Pardon?
the guard the door.
Pardon?
The SRO's role is not. to-
No, I know that, Charlotte, but I also being in the main office of a school for 20 years, I don't think the secretary should be the first one to let people in. That should be their responsibility.
And
I would have been dead.
we have kind of talked through that sequencing with administration in terms of what their desire was to do. Transaction window within the vestibule, visitors can come to that window without coming into the office. Which they call this very important. Yes, and that was a lot of.
Similar to that.
Yes.
And
Yep. And I believe that's the end of Golden Street site. One element that came up from our landscape architect, just recognizing access to the site for somebody who's walking pedestrian. In the lower left-hand corner, you see a set of stairs, but there's also a ramp that works its way up. Thank you, Mark. That helps get us elevationally from the sidewalk level that's on Golden Street up to the area within the site, so that everything can be handled with a slow walkway rather than any type of further ramping within the site.
One more question. So around where the main entrance is, does staff have view of the park? Is it glass?
We do have windows from administration to the main parking in that entry
So
plaza.
the main
at both
secretary
schools.
in the main office,
Yes.
she'll be able to see outside. Yeah, oh, I realize that. But that always helps to gain a sense of something going on outside. So.
Christine, also remember
Things you
that
have to consider.
there's a full security package.
There's a what?
A full security package as part of the project as well.
Yeah.
Cameras and.
But that's what I mean, sometimes there's only one person in the office, and if they're busy, they're not looking at, you know what I mean?
No,
It's like,
that's fully pointed.
they're not looking everywhere.
Yeah, true.
Security is passive and active.
Yeah, exactly.
It's both passive view of the site that's really important as well.
It's our security guard who's a
I will,
fire trooper, captain.
as somebody who does
Had
security
his eye
for
out
a living,
there. I'm
Christine,
sorry, what?
as somebody who does security for a living, I will tell you that every staff member should be trained to have some security responsibility. All right, now, if that isn't happening, that's another question.
It's
But
that-
everybody,
It's that.
okay, so this is, you know, not that we would expect your secretaries to be taking down people coming into the building. That wouldn't be the expectation. But everybody has some responsibilities as
Oh,
far as
absolutely,
observing,
but
reporting.
Was that the way the whole school, our school was built initially, they didn't even have a security
Yeah,
right
well,
there, it was ridiculous.
There wasn't a security plan when those buildings were built anyway. None of them.
Is that?
Is that it? There you go. Thank you. Any questions for DRA? I'm gonna download this one, I like it.
So then the construction, documents and diagrams, those will be further
Develop.
developed. So this is just a
This is a pricing point.
pricing point and to get it through design approval.
One comment that I will make is that typically what we see from where we sit, the drawings at this level are not usually as complete as what you're seeing on the screen. You haven't seen the drawings, but we
Right.
don't usually get sets that have that many pages at this iteration of design. So it's good that we're ahead. If you, I wouldn't say ahead is the right word. We're more developed than typical.
Yeah, well, I see all the electrical outlet
Right,
placement,
right.
which is
Yeah.
way down
Right.
in the weeds.
It'll help if the estimates be more concise.
Any other questions for DRA? You're none, Downs, you got anything? to say?
Yeah, we do want to say, yeah, drawings, you saw the numbers, the sheets that he has, the amount of specifications. It's been developed, gives us the opportunity to really look at a lot more detail. And as mentioned too, the documents are a very well developed design development set, which gives us a lot more information, to really fine tune our numbers. Like you showed the senior detail a few minutes ago, that gives us a better idea to understand how many people, things like that, where we can really start refining the number. But with all that being said, we do have drawings out to some of our consultants looking at the building the pricing together. We will have our estimate and their consultant's estimate. We'll be submitting that on July the 8th, and then we'll sit down and reconcile with both the estimators sitting in one room to reconcile the estimates, kind of reviewing each party's estimate to make sure we see everything the right way. It's kind of a double check. And at that time, after that, we will then come and present our estimate to the board at the following board meetings in that case.
And where do we stand with the gross infrastructure from the utility company, water, sewer, and electric?
Good question.
So that was brought up at the last meeting. Those costs have been delineated now by Norwich Public Utilities. I can pull those figures up if you want, but they were right around where we originally thought, so there was.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape there. The one thing we are at, it may require some council action. Greenville's already in an enterprise zone. So, but Stanton isn't. So what it is, at some point, I think we're gonna add all the schools for this project into enterprise zones to allow for reduced utility costs with NPU. Everyone understands that. So, but that will be that has to be a council action. I don't anticipate there being a problem with that. But we'll need to do that at some point.
Well, my main concern is ordering the transformers and macerators and all of that might be required for the projects.
And we're tracking all those things with NPU as we keep moving. The transformer, I don't believe that they had a huge lead time discrepancy versus where we are. There is some other enabling work that needs to be done on the Greenville property. Jim had shared the inland wetlands presentation, actually where the stormwater retention ponds are going to be for the stormwater collection on the project. There's a high pressure gas line running through there. Part of the utility costs are to relocate that gas line, something that NPU already was looking at doing, but just not as quickly as as it would happen to support this project. But and we have them interfacing with them just about every step of the way.
And then the updated FEMA maps at Greenville, did that affect Stanton? I'm sorry, not at Greenville. Did that affect the floodways and the restrictions that were being put on the playing fields?
No. Because but that playing field is still in the floodplain. So you can't build.
The
But we
big one
still
is-
have some sort of.
doesn't have a fund rest just for all those vendors that are in that group. No one else.
So, sorry, I got some message here. Okay, so, anything else? On that, from Downs or anything? Questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. All right, Bob Casanova, could you, unmute for a minute? I tried to ask you that, but you had too much background noise or.
That's about it is.
Yeah.
Food is not great.
I'm unmuted.
It's whatever.
All right, thank you. Where are we at with the, RFPs for Moriarty and
I'm just, we're doing one for the Mike Frangel. What do I gave you the,
That's for the owner's rep, but do you want to move forward with architect now after today's meeting? Because I know we had paused that previously. Okay.
right,
So, the plan with Josh and the city manager is to move forward with those, at least issue them, get numbers and see where we stand. So by the time, we know where we finally stand, and we'll be able to do something. So the longer we wait, the more it's gonna cost us.
all right, then those will be right at the top of my list.
Okay, thank you, Bob. So we won't require any action right now. We'll move on. So, as I mentioned before, I created a consent agenda based on Jim's recommendations. Actually, I have some experience with this, so it's certainly a good idea, particularly on the number of invoices. It includes a number of professional services invoices. If you check with the summary that was sent to everybody, obviously there was a lot of files that I sent out. But the summary gave a good example because not all of them were billed out yet. So for instance, on the DR, there was 1, 2, and 4. There was still 3, I think, Mystic Air or something like that still is yet to be billed out. Obviously Moriarty and Lucas invoices are up there now. So I'm going to read these off for the record. So, and then we'll pass them, we can pass them in one motion. If anyone wants to pull something out, please advise. So Greenville number 15 from CSG is $10,680.02. Stand number 15 is $10,555.46. Moriarty 1 for April 2024, $19,523.20. Moriarty number 2 for May, $19,523.20. Uncas number 1, $15,000. Uncas number 2, $15,000. For DRA, Greenville number 8, $186,676.27. I appreciate the list of documents and everything you showed us today, so I certainly understand where that's coming from. Professional service number 1, which is $10,044.10. Number 2, $11,039.47. Number 3, $4,344.13. Stand number 8, $206,183.30. Stand PSS number 1, $9,181.96. Number 2, $4,940.69. And number 4, $800.31. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? So by Bill Hull, could I get a second?
Second.
Second by Stacy Gould. There is no discussion on the consent agenda. All in favor, starting with Sheila Hayes.
Yes.
Bill Hull.
Yes.
Cindy. Stacy.
Yes.
Greg Velazquez.
Yes.
Christine.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Joe. Greg. Yes. Me, yes. Marculo.
Yes.
11-0. The consent agenda is approved. Anything else to be brought before the committee? God, I hope not. Sorry, this is a recorded meeting. All right. Anything else? I will ask again. Hearing none, motion to adjourn will be in order. Motion to adjourn by Stacy Gould. Is there a second? second by Peter Contier. Sheila Hay.
Yes.
Joe, DeLucia said yes.
I'll be right back.
Right. Cindy? On the motion to adjourn? Stacy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Christine? Peter? Yes. Greg, myself, yes. Martulos?
Yes.
We stand adjourned at 7:47 PM. Thank you, everybody, for participating.